It's been far too long, and before we get going, I just want to say that I'm done making excuses. I'm done apologizing. It's not worth it anymore. Fact of the matter is, I've screwed up. I have let personal problems get the better of me. But I'm going to try very hard to get back and be consistent. And basically, I gave myself this ultimatum that if things don't turn around soon, I'm done. That maybe, just maybe, the fire isn't there anymore. I still very much enjoy doing these series and recording. I have the ideas, I have the ability, but maybe it's just that I need time. So I gave myself this ultimatum that either I get consistent or I'm done. So, with that being said, let's see where this goes from here as I stop making excuses and start fixing things. So let's jump right into this episode, the go home show of SmackDown ahead of Battleground. We kick off with Shane, AJ, and Kevin Owens, as Kevin Owens and AJ Styles set up their match this Sunday for the United States title at Battleground. And then we move to Sin Cara against Benjamin Boone. Benjamin, a local talent came in as, if you missed last week, Sin Cara got a surprise win over Austin Aries. And I'm not going to say I'm pushing him, but maybe more making I'm not going to say I'm pushing him, but more or less making him more credible to where he isn't a typical jobber and more just another guy on the roster who could who could be a credible opponent for somebody coming up, to where it's not just Dolph Ziggler facing everyone who comes up from NXT. But either way, following his match, he doesn't have that much time to celebrate because Austin Aries runs to the ring and beats down and attacks Sin Cara, signifying that whatever started last week isn't over yet. And now we head backstage with Jinder Mahal having bumping into Baron Corbin. For those who didn't see last week's episode of SmackDown, Jinder and Baron main evented against John Cena and Randy Orton, and of course Cena and Orton won. But now Corbin and Jinder are arguing over who caused the loss last week on SmackDown. But Jinder brings it up that he is still WWE champion, and even if he lost, he's still better than Baron, because unlike Baron, he's a champion. But then Baron looks over at Jinder, looks down at his briefcase and says, with this, as he points to his Money in the Bank case, which he still has, with that case, you, my friend, may be champion for now, but you won't be champion forever. Now we move forward with Xavier Woods with the New Day for the first time stepping in the ring against the Usos, as Xavier goes up against Jimmy Uso, and Xavier gets the win ahead of their title match this Sunday as Big E and Xavier face the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. Speaking of title matches, Natty and Naomi face off in the ring and trade words ahead of their title match this Sunday, with Natty laying claim to the laying claim on the idea that Naomi has been a good champion. But now it's time for someone better to lead the division. And Naomi looks and says, Natalia. Sorry. I just sounded very robotic there. Natty, you may say that your family makes you born to do this. I worked my ass off to get here, and you're not gonna be the one that takes it away from me. And now we move to Rusev, a vignette promoting Rusev's return to the main roster, with Rusev saying in the vignette that the day he returns, it will be a holiday for all, because Rusev will be back in the WWE. And now we move to the next match with the Drama King Aiden English against Luke Harper, with Harper getting the win. As I've mentioned in previous incarnations of this series, I am a huge fan of Luke Harper and think that he has a good amount of untapped potential to be something more than what WWE has used him as. And I'm not just talking about a tag team specialist, I'm talking about using him as fodder and an afterthought in most cases. Even though you say a win's a win, this is just the start of Luke Harper, as Harper does have a future with me at the helm. And then we move forward as Shinsuke Nakamura comes out As Shinsuke Nakamura comes out for his match, he is assaulted by the Colognes, who he was actually facing in a handicap match. He's attacked by Epico and Primo ahead of the match, which now brings up the question, well, actually, I'm going to give you the question and the answer, that are we still going to have the match? And the answer is no, because Shinsuke Nakamura is taken out of the match by the Colognes to continue their feud. And yes, this does open the door for Epico and Primo to face Shinsuke in some form at Battleground. This way, Shinsuke Nakamura is on the pay-per-view, because yes, I could have ended the feud tonight, but that would have ended with Shinsuke, number one, me having to find something new to get Shinsuke on the pay-per-view with, and number two, it possibly could have ended up with Shinsuke not being on the pay-per-view. And I think at this point, not having Shinsuke on a pay-per-view does more harm than having him on a pay-per-view. Does more harm. Not having him on a pay-per-view does more harm than having him on a pay-per-view and having him in a lesser significant role. So having him on a pay-per-view is better than not, is basically what I'm saying. No matter the role he's in. And speaking of the role, of course we had to have a women's division match, and of course it wasn't going to be the people competing at the pay-per-view. And it made more sense in my head. Either way, Charlotte gets the win in what most would say is an insignificant women's match. Now we move up to the contract signing with Daniel Bryan hosting it, as Jinder Mahal and Randy Orton sign the contract ahead of Battleground and their pay-per-view match for the WWE title, which is Randy Orton's final title shot against Jinder Mahal for the title. And then we move to the Fashion Files, with the Fashion Police questioning Gable and Jordan about their whereabouts and if they have seen Fandango's horse, because Dango's horse went missing 2 weeks ago, and now they're looking for any leads they could possibly find to find Dango's wooden horse. And also, if they could also find who attacked him, that would be good too. But Jordan just looks at him and says, "Are you looking for a real horse, or are you looking for a stick horse?" And then Dango shows him a picture and is like, you guys are jokes. Showing possible signs that Gable and Jordan, or maybe even just Jordan, could be turning heel in the very near future. And maybe I could be going with the idea that the WWE didn't, of having Jordan and Gable be the ones that are behind the Fashion Files as opposed to the Bludgeon Brothers. But we'll see what happens. I was not expecting this. Yes, I mean, no, I did not pick the winner because I expected Mojo Rawley to get the win, no doubt about it. But I'm actually kind of happy that Mojo Rawley did not win and that Connor did, because I would really love to reestablish the Ascension, even though I know the only way to establish the Ascension, well, there's two ways. One way is probably putting him in the Fashion Files, because I think that the Ascension could be a credible part of the tag team division and are being terribly misused because WWE has a habit of only giving talent wins if they're doing something and not keeping talent credible even when they're not in a feud. So yes, comedic timing could be capitalized on in the Fashion Files, but also giving the Fashion Files more of a direction may be a better way to go, and less of just a comedic episode of the show. I'm not saying they won't be in it, I'm just saying that maybe, just maybe, there may be a better way to use the Ascension. I just don't know what that better way could be at this point. But either way, Connor did get the win, which is probably his first win in a very, very long time. Now we move to a video package hyping up Battleground this Sunday. And oh my god. Number one, really, Byron? The announcing job done by Byron Saxton was pretty weak. That's the second time that happened on this show alone. So I think what I need to do is, bye-bye Byron. Bye-bye Byron, you're gone. Maybe Byron goes back down to developmental, or maybe Byron moves to main event and is just on the B show and just a commentator over there. And maybe I just do the smart thing and make it where SmackDown is different than Raw in the aspect of it has a 2-man announce team, not a 3. Which is what it should have, because every show doesn't need a 3-man announce team. I'm looking at you, NXT. But either way, that's not the only problem I have with this. The fact that Jinder Mahal gets a 61 in-ring performance, and Jinder Mahal is supposed to be main eventing Battleground against Randy Orton, and he doesn't even get above a 75 against John Cena, with John Cena pulling out a 70, and me thinking that's generous of them giving him a 70 after Jinder getting a 61 in-ring performance and Cena getting a 90. Well, maybe, just maybe, it's time for me to hinder Jinder. Look, I'm not gonna lie. Jinder Mahal would make a good mid-card champion. But there is no way Jinder Mahal is at the point of where he could be a credible world champion when he's putting out numbers that Ric Flair would get when he was 50, still winning the WCW world title. You know what I mean? Like, Jinder Mahal needs not to be world champion, and the fact that he underperforms in that role as champion really makes me not want to make him champion anymore, pointing at Battleground as a suspected date, just saying. But to really know what's going to happen, as we lost popularity and lost overness again, 23 in popularity, I know. Oh, you could have made him lose the title tonight. I don't believe in Baron Corbin enough to have him be the top guy either. I mean, in the top match either. But basically, the issue here is this. The issue here is this. You say, oh, Jinder Mahal, blah, 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 blah. Look at WWE during this time and tell me that Jinder put more people watching the show. That Jinder was what they used to measure a good champion as. That Jinder held the ratings and didn't make the ratings go down. That the house show business was up with Jinder as champion. In my opinion, if that was the case, Jinder wouldn't have been versing Triple H in India. He would have been versing AJ Styles. He wouldn't have dropped the title ahead of Survivor Series to make it where AJ could verse Brock and not him. It would have been him versing Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series. But it wasn't. Because the profitability wasn't there because of how WWE booked him into this spot. If you went back and you reset and made Jinder Mahal take a long time, long-winded booking instead of spotty booking to get him in a position where he could be a main event player when you go to India, you didn't need to give him the world title because Kevin Owens is United States champion and the roles should be reversed. The roles should be reversed to the point of Jinder Mahal being U.S. champion and having the reign that he did with the world title as U.S. champion. Not vice versa. Fact of the matter is this. I would hope to tell you that if I made Jinder drop the belt that things would change, but I don't know that. Then again, I can't get much worse than what this show got. This show got a 62. A 62! If I could get worse, and if I did get worse than a 62 in the WWE in 2017, I should just close up shop and quit because something is wrong. I should just close up shop and quit because something would be wrong. We lost 23 popularity in 23 regions. I'm not happy about it because things have not been good. Yes, Great Balls of Fire was a good pay-per-view. Great Balls of Fire, Great Balls of Fire gained us popularity. I think I got about an 80, but I can't go pay-per-view by pay-per-view and have the pay-per-views be the only time that I gain popularity. It needs to be where shows are also turning positive ratings and gaining popularity. Because if it's not, it's going to be a very long season. So with that being said, let me know down in the comment section below what you think would be best for me to do with the WWE and this season, especially on SmackDown. How can I fix it to where I don't get 60 ratings anymore and maybe do positive? Because right now it's negative, and if you don't know what I'm saying, look at that note, look at the box where the cursor is, and tell me that's positive. Look at the final rating and tell me that a 62 as WWE, where you have John Cena and the world champion main eventing a show, that's positive when they only get a 70. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts on this, on how I'm booking this season, and what I could do to possibly improve. Because as always, feedback is more than welcome and appreciated. But if you don't want to leave a comment, you can always leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to ding dong that notification bell to always know when a new video is up on Wrestling Express. Until next time, later.